To John Ferrian Live. Here we are on another Sunday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Central Time. And we're here with another amazing guest and another amazing episode, all to share some great information with all of you. And guess what? Tonight's episode is another one of those episodes that you're going to want to share out with your friends. And so just a quick heads up, guys, like what we want to be conscious of as we share these into the sled pages is that we're not bombarding sled pages over and over and over again. So if you're going to share them to the sled pages, I'd ask that you take a peek over there, double check to see if it's already been shared there. So maybe let's just start with sharing it on your personal pages, sharing it over to your friends. If you have a personal club page or something like that, that's fine. But if you're going to share it out to 2.0, if you're going to push it out to Sled Addicts Nation, all those great pages that we all love, be conscious of the fact that 20 of the people are doing the same thing. So we need to have them over there, but we don't want to just bombard them. So let's be thoughtful about that. Make sure that we're remaining guests in their houses, and we love what's going on. So thank you guys for being here. And as you know, the Share and Win contest this week, again, we have Fly Racing. We have a mid-layer jacket at an $80 value. This is one of my favorite items that I wear personally all the time. Last year I had the gray one and the black one, and lots of awesome stuff going on there. So we're going to go ahead and drop that down, and we're going to bring our friend Rick up here in just a minute. But before we do, I want to show you quick. Don't forget, in the notes, the show notes, you're going to see Live Large University. The website is available to buy all the shirts, the hats like I'm wearing right here today. All of those are available, and all the proceeds go to Live Large University at Erie for the scholarship program. And the other thing, one more thing is we've got in the show notes is the Climb Ultimate Backcountry Sled giveaway. There's Marlon sled decks. We're giving away a sled deck. We're giving away Fly Racing gear, head-to-toe Fly Racing gear, about a $2,000 shopping spree on Fly Racing. And Mad Ends is giving away 2 Level 1 Avalanche classes for a pair of people to go in and join them there. So lots of great stuff in the show notes. Get into those links, click in them, and get your tickets. We've raised about $44,000 so far in that raffle, that sweepstakes that we've got going on. But guess what? We need that number to go way up past $100,000. We'd love to see it hit $200,000 to make a big difference. So, all right. So we're going to bring Rick on here in 3, 2, and 1. Hey, Rick. How's it going, buddy?
Good, John. How are you doing today?
Good, good. Just a reminder, all those little, talking under your breath a minute ago, we just heard that, just so you know.
Right. I was sitting here being all paranoid about being on again. It's like I hope I look okay today.
Oh yeah, you're beautiful, just like I am. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's why we have a face for radio, right? It's like
we need Facetune to make us look better.
Rick, you're is this the second now or third time? This is probably the third time you've been on the show now, right?
This will be the third time that I'm on. Actually, Jason ended up working today. We had a deal. As I'll do one, he'll do one. I think he purposely made sure he's working today because he's kind of afraid to sit there and talk to you or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's probably just nervous that he would, outdo you so much and you would get jealous and, it would probably just start a fight. It would just start a fight.
He'd get more likes than I do and stuff like that. And next thing you know, it's going to be a big competition. It's going to break up. It's going to break up the band. And the next thing you know, we're going to be doing nothing.
So, Rick, I'm all about setting records, and I just want to call out, we've just set a new record. You are the first guest ever to be on 3 times now. This is the first. I've had other guests on twice before, but this is the first time I've had somebody on 3 times. So guess what? The audience and I must love you and love bringing you on and having the content that you guys continue to bring to us.
First at anything, so I'll take anything I can get. That's awesome. And I can't even thank you enough for even giving us an opportunity to even be on your show. So it means so much to us that we get this platform to even go talk to anybody.
It's so awesome. And before we dive into all the fun stuff, I just got to do a quick thank you and a shout out to the other day, you and Jason and your crew, some of the other folks you were with there, were out jet skiing and you guys were rocking the new Live Large University shirts. Tell us about that day and what that was about.
Yeah, and it was funny because, like on Facebook, it shows you like what you did 5 years ago. It's like 5 years ago, we were actually on the river that we got these guys together. We're bombing down the river and all of a sudden, one of the guys puts on like our WhatsApps like 5 years ago, this was us. And I'm like, hey, let's go out to my parents' house on the lake. Let's go out jet skiing. We got these guys back together again. And it was cool because Jason and I just finally got our Live Large shirts and stuff. We're like, we're going to put these Live Large shirts on. We're showing John what we're doing and we're having fun and stuff. And, sent you that picture and stuff.
Yep.
Didn't think we are going to be on like the web page or anything like that, but it was cool because we were talking about on how why did it take us 5 years to go and get that crew back together to
Yep.
go on jet skiing, something that we love doing and we talk about all the time. And it was like it's nice that Facebook gave us that reminder, but it's
Yeah.
also like one of those things like we got to do this more. We
That's
can't,
awesome.
and that's why I think that's when Jason and I were talking like one of those shirts and like the whole live large. And I say it's like a movement. It's like don't wait, don't wait for those 5 years to go and do something. It's like get out there and go and do it. Not
Yeah. I
don't
love
waste
that.
your time.
And
It
you
was
guys,
just it meant a lot to us.
yeah, and you guys have really kind of dialed in and kind of really embraced that whole concept of what live large is and what it means. And, before we get too far here, I got to call out that I made a mistake, Rick. I'm going to apologize publicly
Oh,
that you did not set a new record. Like, just to be clear, you are tied with Brian Lundstedt as the only two people ever to
well,
be on the show 3 times.
if I was going to tie with somebody, I wanted it to be him.
Exactly. So
So,
Brian's actually here watching tonight, and he called me out, and I appreciate it. I love you,
oh,
Brian. I love it. That's awesome. I love that we
it's like,
have
hey,
all of
wait a
our.
minute. It's like, what about me?
He's like, "What am I? Chopped liver? What am I?
Right.
Chopped liver?" So that's awesome. But yeah, the whole concept of live large, right? For those of you guys who are maybe watching this the first time, by the way, I didn't even call it out yet, and people already know the routine. Drop it in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, everybody. We'd love to see all the names in the comments and where people are watching from. It really helps us dial in where we want to take some information for next episodes, right? If we know where people are watching from, it'll make a big difference as we go through there. So, but yeah, the live large philosophy is just amazing. It's live life to the fullest, right? Like
Right.
your point, right? Don't wait 5 years to get together with your buddies. Get out there and just get after it and just send it, right? Like have a good time and make the most of every day, right? Like in your situation, you and I were talking pre-show here, you know, as a firefighter, paramedic, that kind of a career, you got some highs and you've got some lows, right? Like
Yeah, definitely.
you're deal
It's like a
you're dealing with some great days that feel really good and you've saved some lives, and then there's days where unfortunately destruction, death is
y-
part of the process, right?
you
And you have
know,
to make the
and
most of every day.
I think that's always like the one thing everybody's always asked is like, how do you go from like one bad call to the next bad call, without it affecting you? And it's like our guys are so tuned with doing things that it's almost like mechanical when we go to like a
Yeah,
call. Like we all know what we're going to do, and we all know that we're going to put everything that we possibly can to come out for a good outcome from that. And maybe it's
yeah,
good, maybe it's bad. But then when we go and reset ourselves, that next call might be worse, and not to let those calls go and affect us. And it's like, yeah, maybe it kind of gets to you after a while and stuff, but and maybe snowmobiling's our release and stuff, like
yeah,
and going doing the things that that time that we got together with those four guys to go jet skiing.
yeah.
It's just such a release,
That's
and
awesome.
it's like, and like I said, like maybe that's why what you're doing is like so important to us, because it's something that we really kind of think about. Is like, live large. It's like, yeah, we got to sit there and take advantage of this time that we got to go on. Of
Yeah.
course, family is always going to come first,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you never
but
know
like,
if tomorrow's coming, right? It's like you got to
right,
make the most of every day and, make the best of it. And then of course the final one is what you guys are right all about, and what the show's about tonight is making a difference to others, right? That's that final
right,
piece of live large, is making a difference to others. And we're going to dive into that tonight. We're going to talk about a little bit about your business again, altitude sickness, just to ground everybody if they haven't heard of it before. And then we're going to dive into a special focused topic of the use of tourniquets, how to use
right,
them, when to use them, and you're going to give us some details there, and if there's an accident and if we should be using them or not. So,
right.
high level, give us a little bit of rundown on altitude sickness.
Okay, what altitude sickness was? It's like one of these things. Like Jason and I drive, in Scott Swinski, we drive out west, and you have a lot of time to go and talk to each other. It's a 24-hour drive for us, and um, we ended up going sledding with a couple of guys, and they said it was how nice it was going with people that are paramedics, or like like Scott's got his EMT background and stuff. That in case something bad happens, that you're there to go and help us. And we're thinking about, I was like, oh yeah, that's great that we have that kind of training, but actually we're kind of heading out with not the kind of equipment that we need. The kind of things that to have a good outcome for a bad situation that we don't really have with us in our first aid kits.
Yep.
So then we started developing a kit that we thought that what we would want to have with us that's still light enough, compact enough to put in our gear, take out west with us, or take us out sledding, that if we needed it, that we'd have that.
Yeah.
And it kind of just started snowballing from that. And then we I came out with a kit, and then I actually came out with an avalanche dummy that I kind of bounced off of Dan Adams. And like I always say, the first one was kind of janky. The second version was a lot better. And Dan Adams took and it was a idea. It's like everybody's teaching people on what to go and do during an avalanche. As far as like locating with your transponders and using your probes to go and finding and digging them out properly and stuff. But like nobody was really teaching them what to go and do once you go and dig them out, like the post avalanche, and that was like the wound care, the CPR, the hypothermia and everything like that.
Yeah.
And we started thinking, like, well, maybe we could fill that gap.
Yeah.
And we didn't think that was really going to kind of go anywhere. But the dummy started kind of taking off, and then Mike Duffy let us go and talk to a group of people for his avalanche clinic up in Wisconsin, and I had people fill out response cards, and we get such a big response, like, hey, I'd like to go and take a look at that, or I'd like to take a CPR course and get certified in that.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, maybe this is something that we can go in there and give the community and start helping people out and like showing them what we go and do for an everyday thing, just a basic knowledge to go and make a good outcome for a bad situation. Make like I always say, it's like you want to start and have a victim rescue and not a body recovery.
Exactly.
And it's like and just like some simple things that we could go and take care of and maybe go and teach people will maybe make an outcome better for one of their loved ones or somebody that they don't even know.
Yeah.
That they're riding with. And it's not even something like when you're going sledding. It's something that it's like every day. It's like if you're out at a restaurant or something like that, and somebody starts choking, or it's like somebody needs CPR, that you have those basic knowledge to go and do something, and you're not afraid to go and use them.
Yeah, I mean, get some training, but of course, that kit that you guys produce, I've got one myself here that I keep with me. A lot of times I just keep it in my truck in the off season, and then during sled season, I put it in my tunnel bag, so I've got it out there with me as well, too. You've got a version of it right there. And then you want to give everybody a quick update on where we're at with the skins bag, the waterproof bag that's coming? I know you're not quite there yet, but we're close, right?
Well, and this is the version of the skins bag, and this is the prototype. And actually, what ended up happening is, like, we didn't like some of the printing on it. They looked a little bit muddy, so we wanted to go and get cleaned up. So we needed a new screen made. And then there's also a backing to it that wasn't on the original bag. And what the backing is, so you can like basically bolt this to like a UTV, go and put the kit on there. It's got a strap so it holds it on.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing that we wanted to make sure that if we're going to make a kit that is going to be like multi-use, that you can put it in your UTV or you can put it in your sled, and that's going to be. I think we were building a garage for one of the guys at work. I brought it along with me and just put it off to the side, so just in case something happens.
Yeah.
I just came back from bike rally up in Tomahawk, Wisconsin. Every year there's always an accident. Every year somebody loses their life on it. Unfortunately, like the place where I was at, a person left there, went down a ditch. I don't know what his outcome has been yet, if he lived or died through it. But to have a kit along with you, and just to even sit there and go and do something, and that's why when we're going to talk about a tourniquet today, that's kind of like, it's like a big thing for me, because I teach our SWAT members on how to go and use them in case they go and they get shot. And just recently, the two officers that were shot in their car, the woman officer put a tourniquet on her partner after she was shot in the jaw. I think it was shot in the jaw, and she basically saved that person's life by stopping that bleed.
Wow.
And it's like, so it's something that's been combat proven with all of our vets that come back. It's if you go and use it properly, it's got a 95% success rate of not losing that limb if it's put on right. And that's not saying that if you put it on, you're not going to go and use that limb, because if you have a limb that's so severely damaged that nothing's going to go and save it, you're just kind of slowing down the inevitable, I guess. You can't blame that on the tourniquet, but like on people that it was applied properly on, that got the divine intervention, that 95% success rate, which is huge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
let's dive into it. And I know it's I'll just tell you from a non-expert point of view and all the things I've heard over the years, there's always a little bit of a fear factor in using a tourniquet, to your point of like, you could do more damage than good. And so I know you'll address that as a way too, but I mean, to me, it's just as important to not only I'll make sure I get my words right here so I don't mess this up, but it's not only important to understand how to use it, but also when to use it, right? I think sometimes there's the right decision is to not use it, right? In some cases, and so you'll walk us through all that tonight. And I'm just going to turn this over to you, and you take and run with it now. So
sure, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a couple of misconceptions about tourniquets, and one's going to be like, how long can it be applied to a person before you do severe nerve damage or a possibility of losing a limb? Tourniquets have been successfully used for many years in war situations and everything else. There's been a lot of development on them as far as like the use of them and the makeup of them.
Yep.
And I'll go over the one that I'm going to use. But typically, you can go and put a tourniquet on a person for 2 to 6 hours without any damage whatsoever. There's one report that I go and found out that they had actually applied a tourniquet for 16 hours with minimal damage as far as like nerve damage to that person. And it's going to depend a lot on the situation. And with us being out, if you're out sledding and stuff, I don't know what the hypothermia rate's going to be, because your limb's going to get cold and stuff, on how much that'll add on to that time for you to go and get like divine intervention and that limb to still be a viable limb for a major bleed. Now, tourniquets, when they go and use them, when we teach like officers or like active shooting set scenarios, we teach our officers that when they go and they get shot, if they get shot in the arm or something or a leg, they're not going like put direct pressure on it, not anything else. They go and apply that tourniquet as quickly as possible, because we want to get that person back into that fight. For us, as far as like snowmobilers and like other general use, you're always your first your go-to to stop a bleed, if it's a severe bleed, is going to be direct pressure. And that's if you have, and I'm going to use my arm because that's the easiest thing we're going to use. If you had a compound fracture that severed an artery, your arteries are the one that pushes the blood out. Your veins are going to be the one that brings them back. Okay. If you have something that's like spurting blood, like every time your heart beats and you have like a spurt of blood, that is an artery that got broken. Okay, you're going to have your carotid arteries, your breaker arteries, and your femoral arteries. Those are the three big ones in your body. If you have a severe bleed and you put direct pressure on it, you can't stop it. There's another thing and with our kits, we put like a hemostatic agent in it. And what it is, it helps the clotting ability of your body to stop that bleed. If that doesn't work, then you want to go to your tourniquets. Now, a couple of other misconceptions about tourniquets are that if you have a severe bleed on the lower part of your arm, can you put that tourniquet just above it? And I'm going to talk about two things. It's going to be like distal and proximal. If I have a cut here and I'm going to be going away from it, that's going to be a distal. Okay, if I have a cut here and I'm going up towards like my body, that's going to be proximal. So you have a big cut right here. You try to put direct pressure on it. If you had hemostatic agents, you could go put it on there. If it's a severe bleed, you could put that tourniquet just above that cut, like about maybe 2 inches or so.
Okay.
And you're going to want to go and I'll do a demonstration. You're going to want to apply that tourniquet and put enough pressure on it where that bleeding will stop, and then you can kind of go like check your pulse. This will be a radius pulse to see if you have that or not. Like right now, if you go and everybody go like this, what's a radius pulse? You put your hand right here, you should be able to feel your heartbeat, like right where your wrist is.
Yeah. Your
foot has the same thing. Obviously, if you have a head bleed, don't put a tourniquet on your head to stop the bleed. That ain't going to work. So tourniquets are just used for your extremities.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get that out right now. I was like, hey, that guy from Altitude Sickness didn't say nothing about putting it on my neck. Don't put it on your neck.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're going to take care of that right now. So that's kind of how tourniquets work. And I guess the best definition of a tourniquet is it's a band that constricts your extremity. It keeps blood flow distal from an injury.
Yeah.
And I guess that's in the best technical term, that's the way to go and put it. And what that means is like, you have a cut, you're going to sit there, put the pressure on the extremity, collapse that artery so it doesn't flow blood anymore, and it should stop that bleed.
Okay.
Now, once that gets on there, you're not going to go and remove that until you get to the divine intervention, or until you get to to the hospital or something. I'm going to talk about this as far as a tourniquet goes, and there are 3 tourniquets that are approved by the TCCC, and that's Tactical Combat Casualty Care. And one's going to be this CAT tourniquet, and this is a combat application tourniquet. Mm-hmm. There's one that's called a soft T, which I've tried, and a couple of our officers have them. I personally don't like them a whole lot. They're a little bit, and I use the word janky all the time. They're a little bit kind of janky with kind of going to use, and they're not as easy. And then there's one that's called an EMT. I've never seen one of those. I know what they look like as far as like on, like when I went to go research it. I don't know anybody that's using them. I don't know on how they work.
Yeah.
The one thing I do know that works are these cat tournaments. These are the ones, tourniquets. These are the ones that we have in our kits. I've personally used them. I've had one use them, and I think I talked on one of our shows that one of the people in my motorcycle club got in an accident where he lost his arm. One of the people that I work with, it's like we taught as far as the police. He's the one that applied it to their arm, or proximal from the injury.
Yeah.
He ended up losing his arm just for the fact because it was so severely damaged. But that police officer saved his life for the fact that he put that tourniquet on properly the way we taught him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Now, a couple other things are kind of misconceptions. Can you put them over a jacket?
That's a great question. I mean, do we need to cut away and get it right on the skin? Could it be on a t-shirt? Could it be on a jacket? Let's address that. And before you do, actually, I'm going to let everybody know that this is going to be a relatively quick episode tonight. And I think if anybody has any specific questions for Rick in regards to his first aid kit or specifically the tourniquets and how to use them or when to use them, drop those in the comments now and I'll watch for those questions that'll pop up. And in about 5 minutes here, we'll be able to come back to those and we'll ask those to Rick. So,
sure.
Rick, go ahead. Like, coat, no coat, what? So
okay.
You got the scissors.
Coat, no coat. Like in our kits, we supply a trauma shears, and these things are literally cut through pennies, so they'll cut through zippers and everything else. If you were to get an injury to a leg, like a lot of times that I got client pants, they have a zipper that zips up all the way. You can look for a zipper first, zip it up all the way, go and check to see if you can stop that bleed. Decide if you're going to have to go and put at proximal from the injury. If you have to go all the way up, your biggest spot is going to be all the way up. That's the problem. Is if you put it all the way up on your legs, your knee will stop working and everything else. If you can keep it down a little bit closer, you might be able to ride out with it. Same with your arms. So if you put it here, you still work of your elbow. If you have it up here, sooner or later, you're going to lose the use of that elbow.
Wow.
So that was always like a big misconception. As far as your jackets go, Gore-Tex jacket is a little bit thick and stuff. If you have multiple layers on it, you are not going to have a good seal against that. You're going to need to go and cut. Trauma shears. I'm sorry, who's the guy that you just had on with Dan Adams?
Aaron McCarthy?
Oh, Jason Blair. I'm sorry, Jason Blair.
Oh, Jason Blair was the week after, yep.
Talking to Jason Blair one time when I was doing it, things like, he goes, I can't believe that people don't put trauma shears and tourniquets in their first aid kits, So this is for you, Jason. Take your trauma shears, go cut up the jacket. If you have multiple layers of like sleeving and stuff like that, if you have just a t-shirt or just like a pullover or something like that, you probably be able to get away with it. And it has to go do it because it's thin, it'll compress easy, and it's actually a little bit easier on your skin. Mm-hmm. So you could put it over a t-shirt, don't put it over a jacket. Get the tourniquet applied, take tape, go and tape that jacket up and keep the limb warm. Now, I'm going to go apply this tourniquet just to kind of show you how easy it is and the way I set it up the way I do. Tourniquets normally don't come packaged like this. I actually go and I take them apart and I go and I repackage them the way that I teach our police officers to go and put them on, or just like anybody in the military. And the reason why we go and we package it the way we do is because we want people to be able to go and use one hand to go and apply it onto their arm. If they have like an injury to the leg, they can use both hands on their leg, but it's set up to be a one-hand thing. So the whole thing about it is like you should be able to kind of like pop it open, get your arm in there, go and pull it tight, and then you're going to go wrap this tape around a little bit. I'm going to try not to go pull my earbuds out. Okay, this thing here is called the windlass. This is a windlass clip. This is a band. You're going to turn this windlass until the bleeding stops, and I'm going to give one more crank, that you can't feel like a distal pulse from where your cut is. Yeah. Like right now, I have it tight enough that I can't feel a pulse in my hand. Okay. Now, once it's applied, this is called a tab, and you can see where it says time on it.
Yep.
I always, when I put these apart, I actually have this tab so it's set up like this. So when you're applying it, it's one less step. Because I want to make sure that I have people that are able to apply this to themselves as quickly as possible. Like I said, in certain situations, you have more time if you're in a situation on a sled and you're putting on somebody else. So we'll see time on it. Marker. Why do we have markers in an altitude sickness bag? Well, there's a couple of reasons why, but the main reason why, so I can write the time this is going to be applied on there. Because like when you finally get to a hospital, they're going to want to know exactly when you put that on there and how long that this extremity has had this tourniquet on it.
Yeah.
Right now, I can honestly say I can feel my fingers not kind of tingling. If I squeeze my hand like this, you see it's all white.
Yeah.
This because blood's not flowing in there.
Yeah.
So as the time goes on, that will constantly get more and more white. So like right now, we have no blood flow on her.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of cool when you get tourniquets. You can go try it on yourself. You're not going to do any damage. Don't keep doing it though. It's good to kind of go and practice to see what it's like.
Yeah.
So do what I just did. Try it out. Do the things like see it's working.
Well, and to your point, you can do it with one hand, right? Because that was the whole point of it. Is if you have to take care of yourself to some degree, the fact that you can slide it up on your arm and then do it with one hand and tie it up. That's awesome that you guys do it that way.
It's like one of those things like and I think that comes like from like us training police officers and firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
Because we constantly do things with muscle memory, and we try to think the easiest way to go and do things by ourselves. So if we don't have somebody helping us out, that we can self-extricate ourselves out of something, or we can self-protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's with snowmobiling too. It's like if you're in a situation that you end up with a compound fracture, you break one of your arteries, don't even bother with direct pressure. If you can get to, obviously if you can't get to your first aid kit if you have one, put your tourniquet on as quick as possible, because your body only has so much blood into it.
Yeah.
Once it is gone, it is gone. It'll be the point. It's like when you start getting your blood pressure below 100 systolic blood pressure, you start getting lightheaded. You start not thinking straight.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a situation that's a very traumatic situation. So your brain doesn't think the way that you think it would.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
going and practicing putting your tourniquet on a couple times is a good thing to go and do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And I'll just go over this real quick. And Jason and I are going to make a video on how we do this properly. Spend a little bit more time.
Sure.
The best thing about these tourniquets is that they're a strap was inside of a sheath, meaning that windlet that I turned, it's got a strap that's actually slides inside this sheath.
Okay.
So it actually does less damage to your arm. You can kind of see how this is kind of going together.
Bunches up, yeah.
Right. And then if I go and I pull it straight, it pulls normal again. There's a reason for that, and it has to go and do with it puts better pressure on your arm without doing more damage.
Well, that was one of the questions that popped in. Actually, my friend from Alberta, Travis Boulanger, hopefully I always mess up his name, but sure. I get closer every time. It's a French pronunciation. But Travis, great question, and he says, can you substitute for the tourniquet strap with things like a ski pull strap or a boot string or something, and of course,
or like a toe strap for a snowmobile.
Toe strap, and then of course you have sticks in the woods. Like there's a lot of different things you could do. But what, to your point, you just kind of mentioned this, is at what point do you risk doing more damage? Maybe by having something too thin, it's like a string too thin, it's going to cut or something. And
that's the thing, is like I believe this is 1.25 inches, 1.5 inch strap, which is like the perfect width for it. It's it's a little bit wider than your toe straps that you probably go and take with you you take out. I would try to go and use a strap. If you use a string, you're going to do a ton of damage. It's too narrow. You're not going to probably be able to include that. Mm-hmm. It's going to cut into your skin. I'm all for, hey, I was a Boy Scout. If you can sit there and get a strap with a stick, that's great. You got to remember, sometimes bad things happen and there's no sticks around, or there's no straps around and stuff. I would, if I could, I'd stick this in their first aid kits.
Yeah. Well, let's just be clear. You can substitute all kinds of things, or frankly, you could do like I've done, which is get a hold of one of these altitude sickness first aid kits.
Exactly.
And again, I can tell you guys, like, I hate being sold on stuff, right? And so this episode, I just want to be really clear. It's like these guys have a product that I personally really believe in, that I have myself. We're not on here, quote unquote, just to sell product. We're literally here to educate people and provide the resources that they need for being safe in the backcountry. If you can get a first aid kit anywhere, God bless you, do it. But these guys have packed up a kit specifically for a backcountry snowmobiler, somebody out on a boat, an ATV or something. It's designed for what we all do, and that gives me the peace of mind for myself too. So,
and that was the thing. I think when we were thinking about coming out with this kit, for one thing, we want it to be light and we want it to be compact. And there's a couple things in there that other kits that you can buy don't have. And that's like a pocket valve mask and like tourniquets and stuff like that, just other things. I don't care where you go and you get that stuff. I just want you to go and get it.
Exactly.
If you get one of our kits, great. We're trying to make them as cost effective as possible. We don't make a whole lot on them.
Well, the waterproof bag where everything fits in there, it's actually pretty sweet to have all that there together. So.
And that's the whole thing is the bag, and it's a water resistant bag. It can't be submerged for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah.
I think that as time goes on, that we're going to work on a boating one that's going to be 100% waterproof.
Okay.
There's a couple things that we're going to go and try to see if I want to go and like package these all in like Ziploc baggies to make sure it's a little bit better. I've taken mine out a bunch of times. Like I said, I just had it on my bike. I've taken it out boating with me. I've taken it out snowmobiling with us multiple times now. Yeah. I have not had water get in any of them. I can't go and bill it as it's a waterproof bag because it does have a vent hole in it to make sure that there's air circulation in it. It's better than all the other kits that I've looked at, and I have a whole stack load of them. I went and bought like every kit I possibly could. Skins was good enough to sit there and go and help us out with the bag. The best that they thought that was going to go work for us and to be able to go and brand it with like with our logo and Dan's logo on it. Thanks, Dan.
Yep, that's awesome.
And it's the I can't say to go and save costs. It's like with the best material that we could possibly go and use for the project that we needed to go and do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's coming out really good. I've not had any problem with water getting in any of mine. And I throw them in the snow. I've done everything else. I just got the prototype for the altitude sickness bag. We're using actually military IFAC bags before.
Okay.
And they're both sturdy. They're both great. The one with the altitude sickness, I'll be calling up Skins tomorrow, and I'm going to try to get an order coming in because and that was one thing I wanted to talk about. There was I know between like being on your show and our website that is being under construction because it's underneath altitudesickness.org. Hopefully by the middle of this week that'll be up that we can start taking orders for things. Online
orders.
Right, and and that was the whole thing. It's like I still have a bunch of the old bags that I've been sending out to people because they don't want, like, hey, I just sent somebody from the SARS team like, hey, I need a bag. I'm like, I sent it out to them. I was like, hey, just so you know, I don't have the new bags in yet, but this is just as good.
Yep.
I'll send you out there if you want a new bag. I'll send that out to you.
Yeah.
There's some emails that I was in like no man's land this whole weekend. I didn't have no internet no internet service, so I got a couple of emails I have to go and field, and I'll do that tonight. But look us up on Facebook. Get a hold, or John.
Yeah,
I wrote this down. There's my telephone number right there.
That's awesome.
So go screenshot that real quick.
For a good time, call Rick Shircel.
Exactly. This was not a number on a bathroom stall. Okay, so but if you go to altitudesickness.org, it's got my telephone number on there. Just shoot me a text because if I'm at work, I can't answer my phone, but I can receive text.
Yeah, no, of course. So I do have a couple more questions for you.
Sure.
When you're doing the tourniquet straps, and if you're doing it for an extended period of time, is there any concern around blood toxicity?
Toxicity, yes. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. It's when it's on your arm for so long, you end up with like a thing called compartment syndrome, and what ends up happening, your skin actually gets it's not rotting, it's getting to the point that you're getting gases in your skin. And like we always talk about like lactic acids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That will start building up, and that's when we're talking about how long can you leave that tourniquet on before you start doing severe damage. It's going to be nerve damage and then permanent damage as far as like tissues and muscles and everything.
Yeah.
And the best research I could find, 2 to 6 hours. If you can get away, hopefully I would like to think that when people are going out, that they bring their in reaches and like their spots, or they have a cell phone, that if they need to get somebody out, that they can get them out. And that's another thing. Once you apply that tourniquet to stop that bleed, you cannot take that off. It is there for the duration. And another thing that you got to kind of consider about too, it's like with snowmobilers, if they're on blood thinners, that'll severely hamper their clotting ability.
Yeah.
I live up in Wisconsin. We have a lot of bars. People go bar hopping. If you're drinking, if you take aspirin, all
make it
those
worse.
things will sit there. Yeah, all those things stop your blood clotting capabilities.
Yep.
It's it's almost like a dance. You know, you have all these things going on. You want to stop that bleed. You know, you want to preserve as much blood they have as possible. You want to keep them from getting hypothermia. You want to get them out.
I got the
You
best
know,
advice. I got the best advice, Rick. I just thought of something. It's just
sure.
it's profound. How about we all slow down, take it a little slower, ride safer, and don't get in an accident in the first place if
Right.
you can help it, right? Let's be smart about how we're riding out there in the
You know,
backcountry. But
and
accidents happen. We all know that, of course. But,
I I'll tell you one
prevention
thing.
is the best medicine, right?
It's like I see your guests on there, and like I got a chance to really get to know Mike Duffy pretty well, and that's
Yeah.
his biggest thing is like
Prevention.
make good choices.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, and I was talking about this on how lucky I was and Jason was that we got hooked up with the people that we got to go ride with because they were experienced riders. Scott's an awesome rider.
Yeah.
That guy never gets lost. You know, he's like our dad when we go out there. He plans everything out for us.
Yep.
I'm a new snowmobiler going out west. I like, hey, I want to go up there. Hey, maybe you don't want to. He's like, it slows you down a second.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't say it's just us our beginner riders. The new guys that are heading out there because it's not. I mean, Rob Kincaid, whoever, you know, like one of my idols is like it was like almost like devastating. It could happen to any one of us. A lot of really good snowmobilers have. It's not bad decisions. It's just being in the
Wrong place
wrong
at the
spot
wrong
at the
time.
wrong time.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So I
Yeah,
guess
you can't prevent everything. You know, you can't
No,
always,
you can't.
you can't always, affect or impact what happens, but you can always affect how you respond, which is when the first aid kit comes in, comes
Right.
in handy. So, one quick question here, and I think we'll wrap it up. Is
Sure.
the question is could you utilize like electrical tape? Have you ever heard of anybody like using like electrical tape to
No.
kind of cinch it tight and that kind of thing, or what's your
No,
thoughts on that?
this is the funny thing, like electrical tape and duct tape. Okay, I can honestly say that I have duct taped cuts together. I've crazy glued them. I've done a lot of stupid things throughout my whole childhood, so I've had plenty of cuts and bruises.
Yeah.
Electrical tape is almost if you wrap it around enough times and be able to get like lift it open, put a stick in there, and go and tighten it up. Maybe, but you got to remember, electrical tape is thin, and as you're tightening it up,
Stretches.
it's gonna stretch for one thing, and it's actually gonna sit there, and it's gonna get narrower.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that we're trying to go and do is like we're trying to get as much surface area to go and collapse that artery as possible.
Yep.
So anything that's like an inch and a half, I think that would be the best thing. And there's actually a study I seen out that was like on the bigger the band and how much longer that you can have that, the better it works.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, it's like you got to remember anything that comes from the military, they have tried on everything.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things that comes from like the medical field, it's been combat proven. The cat tourniquet, the one that I go and use, that is a combat tourniquet. That is what they go and they give. We make ours orange. You can get this any color you want. The reason why it's orange because I want you to be able to see it. If you drop it in the snow, I want to make sure that everything that we get that we send you is going to be orange in color because it's the most visible color that we could pick.
Yeah. No,
You know,
absolutely.
it's like everything we got is orange, and I hated orange at first, but I'm really starting to like it. I'm starting to like it now.
Rubbing off on you. Cool.
Yeah, but
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll go ahead and kind of wrap this up, and I'll just kind of call it out that, a ton of great information again tonight.
Sure.
And, the thought for you guys coming on ongoingly is, every so often we're going to continue to have you guys on and talk
Right.
about a new topic, a new item, right? And we're going to do our best. A lot of it based on yours
Okay.
and Jason's schedules of who's available. And so there's sometimes I have a need for somebody, and there's other times we're just going to schedule you. But either way, you guys are, I love the fact that you guys are, standing and ready to go fight the emergency. You're ready to go fight the
Right.
fire if you need to. So
and it's and because like we're so appreciative, I just want to do a couple of shout outs real quick, just because
please,
like
please
there's
do.
so many people that help us out. It's like for one thing, Dan Adams, thanks a lot for like believing in us and helping us out with Skins, and Jeff Hawksworth from Skins,
Yeah.
Mike Duffy from Avalanche One, for helping us give us our first chance to go talk to people. Todd Kramer from Soul Sledders, like Jason's buddy and stuff. Especially like my partner Jason. I'm glad that he believes that we believed in this to go and do this. Scott Campbell, that we're going to be sponsored for the Iron Dog, Team 93.
Yep. He's here watching
Dave,
tonight. Todd's here watching tonight. Dave Wagner's watching tonight. All of you
Dave
guys.
Wagner from Team 11 and stuff like that. We're working on your guys' shirts. It's like it's just been so awesome that these guys, like, they contact me, and I talked to Dave Wagner, and he's got some things that I think he's going to be letting you know coming up pretty quick. He's just cool people. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I can't believe the people that we're talking to, and especially you, John. It's like, I can't thank you enough for giving us a chance to even go beyond this show and give us a platform that's going to talk to people. I hope we make a difference sometime down the road.
Well, if it hasn't been clear to the audience so far, this show is not my show. It's your show. It's Jason's show. It's David's show. It's Kevin's show. It's Aaron's show. It's Tia's show.
The show, by the way.
I know, right? So we got to have somebody go 4 times so we can set a new record, right? Now we're tied for 2 people being on 3 times, and you know what? Here's the thing, guys: is 136 episodes. This October, I calculated, is going to be my 2.5 year mark. That we'll be going 2.5 years now. And the other thing I'll tell you guys is that the merchandise, right? The Live Large hats, all that stuff.
Right.
We just a week ago gave away 2 level 1 Avalanche classes from Brian Lundstead, and the winners are already called out. You know, Jason was one of those winners, right? He was ecstatic.
Seen him. Like, we were because we were sitting right next to each other at the firehouse, and he's like hopping up and down and stuff, and like.
Yep.
The other firefighter was like, "What the heck is going on with this guy?" I'm like, "You won an Avalanche kid," you know. It was so cool, you know. And it's like, I never won anything.
Yeah,
and
but the thing is just like we tell everybody, is like, he bought the shirts, right? You guys bought shirts, you guys bought products. The other one is Ryan Cook. He's another big follower of the show, and he's the same thing. He bought shirts, right? And so this is real, guys. Like, we're doing exactly what we're saying we're doing. We're pulling these merchandise together. 100% of the profits and proceeds go over to ARI to be able to support motorized avalanche awareness and education. And so starting now, September 1st, any new merchandise orders that come out between now and the end of December, we have a 4-month stretch here, those we're actually going to be giving away more level 1 avalanche classes. For sure, I've got the Mountain Lab Riding Group. I'm trying to tie off with Matt Enns and Brett Rasmussen, but we might be giving away multiple prizes in December for this year and kind of close this year out in a really big way. But for sure, I can promise you we'll be giving away the level 1 avalanche classes from the Mountain Riding Lab out of they're out of Jackson, Wyoming, and it's Will Mook and Matt Schabaum out of the Mountain Riding Lab. So great crew there. Well, they're super excited. So.
And then I was telling John before we did the show and stuff like that, Jason's working on a shirt that we'd like to go and donate to your website or to your cause and stuff like that he can sell, that you can sell on your place.
Yeah.
That all the proceeds are going to go to area wherever we want to go and have it too. But we want to make like a signature Altitude Signature shirt with a Live Large logo on it too.
Awesome.
So it's like we're excited. You know, Jason's got some really cool. He's got some really cool shirts that are going to be coming out. Our biggest things we want people to understand. It's like if you're trying to look us up, our website's like altitudesickness.org. It says like under construction right now or launching soon. That's what it says.
Yep.
I thought I was better at building websites. I don't know what I'm doing. So, and I hate to say it. It's like, I just don't. And it's like, I try to go and get this thing going and stuff. And I want it to be like as stress-free as a process for people to go like order stuff out. So it'll be launched, and hopefully sometime this week. It'll be a secured site. If you can't wait, or if you want to sit there and give me a call, just text me. Give me a day or so. I know I got a couple emails I got going field, so I'll take care of that.
Yeah, perfect.
But it's like, I'm hoping that that I can start getting some of the new bags from Skin soon.
Yeah.
I don't want to go and re-up my old bags unless I know that, because I think people want the new stuff. You know, they want the next level on there, and Altitude Sickness on there.
Yep.
And but if I need to go and send out old bags, I'm going to go and do it. I'm not going to.
That's awesome.
I'm going to try to get as much stuff out to as many people as I possibly can.
Perfect.
You know, I want to. That was the whole gist about this. To go and make a difference.
That's awesome. All right, buddy. Well, I think we knocked it out of the park again tonight. And
how many minutes did I take this time?
We're at 44 minutes, so which is perfect. So we went a little longer than we thought, but no worries. We still kept it under average. But I'll tell everybody what we tell them every single week is thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
God bless everybody. And, of course, live large. Have you guys forgotten what live large is? It's live life to the fullest. Make the most of every day and do good for other people, man. Everybody help each other out and make this world a better place. So God bless you guys.
And next time, Jason's on here next time.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll just see when we need to call you guys and who's available. Right. Maybe we'll get one of your wives to come on instead. That'll probably make the ratings go up better anyway. So
that'll be one of Jason's wives.
One of his wives? How many does he have?
That'll be his wife.
Oh, okay. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Thanks, John.